Due to the graphic nature of this program, viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to the Marco Jure Show, everybody. It is Tuesday, July 29th. Thank you for staying up to date with me on all the groundbreaking news across our country, across the world, where the facts are facts and the hard truths thrive. Please be sure to like, follow, and share the show with others to get this information out. It helps wake people up to what's really going on in the country, so I appreciate when you do that. Now let's get ready for the best hour that radio has to offer, shall we? Let's jump right into the chaos that we see existing in our nation today. Yesterday I talked with you, about the culture of our nation. And of course, after the show ended yesterday, I have Fox News on in the background, and all of a sudden I hear about this mass shooting taking place in New York City. 5 people dead. And I said to myself, where are we as a culture that people think this is okay to act out like this? That's okay to beat people in the street senselessly and mercilessly. We destroy private property and all the other things that we see taking place. All these vile, depraved, deviant things that we see in our society. Where do we get our morality from? I ask myself. And it's pretty essential that we get our morality from God. Again, that's how the nation was founded. Christian values. I keep mentioning this to you over and over. And again, when we abandon these Christian values, when we partake from them, and we don't do anything with it, so we see someone in need and we just kind of walk away, we don't do anything. We see someone get in trouble, we don't speak up. Where are we as a people? Where are we? We're nothing. We have nothing. There's nothing to build on. There's no foundation, folks. And when you see that erosion of these Christian values in our society, and everyone says, well, it's better we just stay secular. We don't want to tell anyone what to do. We don't want to live by these rules anymore. We need new rules. Right? That's what Mamdani wants. He wants new rules in New York City, right? He's just one of many communists across the country. These naked communists who want to, again, create this upheaval and uproot our Christian values of this nation. That's what he wants. He wants to turn it into a communist hellhole. That's what he wants. That's what many others in the Democratic Party want. That's what we see from them. So when I see this gunman, Shane Tamara, again, has a history that is documented of mental health right before killing 4 people and then himself, I say to myself, where's the morality here in our society? Where's the morality here? How do we get here where we see this time and time again, these mass shootings going on? Now, this maniac gunman, this is in the New York Post, who killed 4 people at a Midtown Manhattan building on Monday evening, was identified as this mentally ill 27-year-old Las Vegas man who drove across the country into the city just hours before this bloody rampage. I want to stop for a second here. Let's think about this for a second. This guy's in Las Vegas, and he decides he's going to drive a nice BMW, but I think it was a BMW he drove, across the country with 2 firearms. He had a pistol in the car as well, along with his AR-15 that he had, that he carried out this attack with. Folks, that's not an easy thing to do, to drive across the country. Now, let's say you have mental illness, maybe you're bipolar. We don't know what he had specifically. I think he said that he had a CTE, I believe is what it's called. And a condition when the brain experiences lots of trauma. He was a football player in high school and in college. And again, he left a note and all this other nonsense. But I say to myself, how does somebody go? I mean, it's going to take him several days to get to New York City from Las Vegas. And I know it because I drove from New York to Los Angeles one time. It's going to take you at least 4 days. Probably more than that if it's just you driving by yourself, because you have to stop, You have to, obviously refuel your vehicle, get food, what have you, sleep. It's going to take some time. So this is obviously was planned out in advance. He obviously looked at a note, so he knew what he was doing. But here's my thing. This guy was a security guard at a casino in Las Vegas. How the hell does he, and we saw the ID, everyone saw the ID by now. He has this conceal and carry permit. Now, again, if he has a history of mental illness, clearly where he's acting out in these homicidal tendencies, how is he able to be, one, a security guard, and two, how is he able to have these weapons if he's a harm to himself and others? That something's not adding up here, folks. Again, it says here, documented mental illness history. That's what he has. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense here. Something's odd here. It says here, Shane Tomorrow, who had a documented mental illness history, was named as the shooter who stormed the 45th Park Avenue, a swanky 44-floor building, and opened fire, killing one policeman who was actually working as a security guard at the time in this building. He was also a New York City policeman for the 47th precinct, and he was one of the people that was murdered in this case. A Bangladesh immigrant, father of two young boys, another one on the way, a husband. Joined the police force 3.5 years ago, I'm told. Killed from behind. It's awful. But it's odd behavior. He's letting a woman off the elevator. Doesn't even, flinch at her. But then he goes and attacks this gentleman and three other people. Leaving another one in critical condition, I'm told. One person was shot and wounded. 4 others sustained minor injuries while fleeing, is what NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch had said on Monday evening. I don't know if there's any more updates as far as that goes. But we don't know the motive behind this. We don't know the motive. And we know that the NFL is in this building. We know that he killed himself on the 33rd floor. On the Blackstone, which, again, I believe is an investment firm, kills himself. And that's that. So he worked as a security guard at a Vegas casino. He drives his BMW all the way to New York City. Double parks the vehicle. Again, outside the building. Walks inside of a random building, starts killing people. And the note he left behind, it said, use my brain for research. I don't understand this. But this guy was so far gone. How in the hell, and especially with this documented history, how is he able to obtain these firearms? Did someone buy the firearms for him? Apparently he had this permit. And with his condition, as stated, the Las Vegas Police Department can detain and take these firearms from him because of his condition. Look at this. He sprayed bullets through the lobby, shooting the majority of the victims before heading to the 33rd floor, where he shot his final victim before shooting himself. Now, this is odd to me, too. And I hate to play almost a conspiracy theorist here, but he's got this long rifle. He's got an AR-15 with him. And it says here he shot himself in the chest with it. Now, that's a really difficult thing to do. I must say this. It's a very difficult thing to do. To turn the gun back around on yourself and then pull the trigger. That would be very, very, very difficult to do. I don't know how he managed that. I don't know how he did it. But that seems very odd to me. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. One other thing that's really weird, and I'm just going to say this, I'm going to put it out there, because, again, I'm looking at these pictures. I'm trying to analyze all this. As I read through this article. And I see the picture of him. He's coming in the building. He's got the firearm at his side. They have the camera zoomed into him. And the AR looks like that. It's got camouflage on it. Right? It's a black gun. Looks like it has camouflage tape all around it. It almost looks like it's green and white going around it. And then you have the magazine, which looks like it's completely black. But you look at the picture. You zoom into the picture. And the muzzle, which he has on the end of this, it appears, is crooked. So maybe it wasn't on right. I don't know. But I'm looking at this picture. It's not on right. I said to myself, okay, that's odd. That doesn't make any sense. Okay. Doesn't make any sense. Then I go and I look at the other picture that the New York Post has on there. And again, I'm not accusing the New York Post of anything. And I zoom into that picture. And in this picture, the rifle is all black. Minus one part where you see this camouflaged either tape or whatever he has on there that appears to, again, to be white or green or light green. I can't really see it. You got to zoom into it. But the gun is all black now. It's very odd to me. Something's off to me on all this. And then I see the footage of, I guess, one of these floors. They got, I guess, 15 different couches and were able to stack them while this is all going on. Again, all I see are cubicles throughout all these, I'm looking through this. All I see is cubicles here. And yet somehow they were able to move this and place them all in front of the door. Stack them just perfectly. Little odd to me. Again, I'm not trying to assert anything different than what we're being told. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing right now. This is what I'm looking at. It's with my own eyes. Where are they going to get all these couches from? In just a short span of time. Remember, nobody knew what was going on. Yet they knew to barricade the door and sequester themselves inside. Maybe someone called up, but again, it seems odd. It seems very odd. One of the things that Paul Morrow, who was a NYPD detective, by the way, said on Fox News yesterday evening, and it was being asked, how about this guy in broad daylight, double parks his car, gets out with his gun, just strolls out into this building, and just commits these horrible crimes. How is this possible? Nobody saw this in New York City, in Midtown Manhattan. How is this possible? There's no reaction to this. Quicker. That he could just go in the lobby and start spraying bullets like this. And he brought up a very good point. And he talked about the defunding of the police and how normally each precinct would probably have 8, 9 cars making their rounds throughout the city. Whereas now it's probably only about 2 or 3 making their rounds in this particular area at this time. And then I think back to Mom Donnie, who wants to abolish the police indefinitely. And I'm thinking to myself, how are we supposed to keep people safe in a city where apparently there's no laws? I mean, there would be absolutely no law enforcement in New York City if Mom Donnie becomes mayor. There'd be none. You would have someone could go in a building, commit this atrocity, walk right out. Who are you going to call? What are you going to do? Pray? That's about all you can do. Run, flee, shelter in place. I don't know. I don't have any answers for this. I have no idea what you're supposed to do. And one of the final things I found odd, I saw this on social media. Again, I'm just telling you what I saw. I'm not saying this is definite or not. But what I saw was in the footage on Fox News that the police are arresting a woman. And I don't know if she was known to this gentleman. I have no idea if she witnessed anything or if she was a part of it. I have no idea. But they show them arresting her. She got her hands behind her back and they're moving her. And then they move her back, like they go to the front of the building and then kind of come back. And then you see the police kind of waving down the people with the cameras. But why are they arresting this woman? And it was said later on that there was some people that were in the way, so they arrested them. And I thought, okay, you're going to arrest somebody because they're in the way versus just moving them out of the way? It just seemed odd to me again. So I don't know if this woman was known to them, to the shooter, or what. It's a very odd thing. Apparently another gentleman, too, in a Free Palestine shirt was also arrested as well. So I want to know, who are these people? Do they know him? Do they help him in any way? Or did they see this? Did they call it in? Who are they? Why are they being arrested? Obviously, if they're interfering with police activity, I understand that, if that's what was happening. But we should know all the people that are arrested in the situation. And we should know what's going on. Yeah, but there we go, folks. Another shooting like this. And again, we have a murdered policeman working overtime, help provide for his family. And it's a horrible thing. It's a horrible thing when we see this. The gentleman's name was, and again, I apologize if I say his name wrong, Dida Raul Islam, 36 years old. Dead. Shot in the back. Yeah, look at this. Black BMW. Just parks his black BMW, comes out with an M4 rifle with 223 rounds in it. That's what that goes in an AR-15. Went into the Rudin properties of the office, walked up. It seems like he's going all over the place. He has no idea what he's doing. But he must have if he left a note and he knew that this was going to be happening. Motives are still unclear. We don't know. Unless he says it in the note. We have no answer. But here we go. We're looking at an ID. And he clearly has a concealed carry permit in Las Vegas. Odd. It's very odd that someone to be in charge of security has this level of mental health issues going on with them. Very, very odd going on here. So as this case unfolds, we'll look at it more. We'll see if we get more information about who this guy is. A football player from Southern California. Played football in college afterwards. Probably received some type of head injury. Maybe that's why he targeted the building. That's where the NFL is. I don't know. Maybe the aspirations to be in the NFL. I have no idea. He was never in the NFL. So again, it just seems odd that he would drive across the country and do this. One of the things I want to mention too, before I move on. CNN had the audacity to go out there and say that the suspect looks possibly white when it's a black man. It's who's watching CNN anymore, folks? I wonder sometimes. It's so ridiculous. It really is. Any way they can smear anybody, they take the chance to do so. Ridiculousness. Now, this gave Kathy Hochul, who I cannot stand, by the way. She's the governor of New York. She's on CNN's Inside Politics, which, again, CNN. I just told you about how ridiculous their coverage is. And stating that we need a new federal assault weapons ban that is needed in the wake of a mass shooting in Manhattan. I mean, this is just ridiculous. I think it's already illegal to do exactly what he did. And yet, of course, he did it anyway. You can't even double park in New York City. That's against the law, too. Yet he did it. He walked right into a building. Everything was okay. You know, she's saying now that we need a nationwide ban on assault weapons. First of all, the word assault weapons means nothing. They try to use weapons of war, another thing, means nothing. I mean, a shotgun at one point was a weapon of war. We can't have shotguns anymore? So they want to outlaw, again, these guns like an AR, which have high precision. They're very effective when you shoot. They're great for home defense and whatnot. They don't want you to have these. They don't even want police, apparently, in New York City. As the people that vote for Mamdani continue on. So they must not want any type of public safety at all. But here we go. We have in New York City where it's difficult to probably own a firearm. Probably has the strictest gun control laws outside of California, right? And Chicago, right? And yet somehow we're going to blame the gun on this. Not the shooter. Not the shooter who went out and committed these crimes. We're going to blame the gun on this right now. We got to blame the gun. Now, folks, I own a couple firearms. I've never had a gun just shoot on its own. You've got to operate the gun in order to do that. And yes, bad people do bad things, but bad people also do not follow the law. And when you have people that are struggling with mental health problems, as this gentleman was, they go out and do bad things. And the only thing that stops these bad people are good people with firearms. That's the only thing that stops them. She said this is happening because there are still assault weapons in the country. It doesn't matter. He had a pistol in the car too. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. If people want to do harm to other people, they will find a way to do it. Look no further than the psychopath in Michigan who stabbed 11 people at a Walmart. What stopped him? A good guy with a gun. A Marine. A patriot. A man who is looking after the people in his community. That's what prevented that guy from hurting more people that day. That man likely, I would have to say, saved many lives that day. And we don't know how often that even happens, how often a gun is used to deter bad behavior like we're seeing right here, which is inexcusable in every sense of the word. Yeah, but she goes on, Hochul goes on, if every state had the same laws uniformly, you could not even have a situation where we fight really hard in the state of New York to make sure that we have the toughest gun laws in the nation. We have the lowest of all the large states' homicide rates by gun. Okay. New York City, New York State, has the lowest homicide rate by guns in the nation for large states. And that's because of laws that are working. We want the same sense of urgency to go out across the nation. First of all, how the hell can you say that? You have the biggest city in the nation, New York City, and you're telling me that their gun laws pale in comparison across the entire nation? Give me a break. Give me a break, lady. Give me a break. Especially with the lawlessness that goes on the streets there. You know, during the COVID, I was watching some of the gun violence that took place. And again, you see this on social media. There's a guy at a store just walked behind someone with a gun and shot him in the back of the head and ran out. I mean, this is it. This happens in our major cities. Why? Lack of morality. That's what it is. Lack of God. Lack of values. But taking the gun isn't going to do anything. We know people can just easily get guns illegally on the black market. Doesn't matter. They will get the gun if they want the gun. So you can ban anything you want. You can ban booze. We saw how that worked out during Prohibition. Those go to a speakeasy and get a drink. That's all. They'll do it clandestinely. That's all. Same thing we see here. How the hell do you think illegal aliens get firearms in this nation? What do you think they go to the gun store and go through the process like American citizens do? Of course not. They get it illegally. We see this time and time again. Now, while again, it appears that the lunatic in New York, this maniac, this murderer, went through the proper channels, he's a person who has mental illness issues. And there should be discussion if someone has a severe mental illness, as he does, something should be done about this. Because again, it seems like it was very well documented. But leave the Democrats to, again, go through the emotions, go through this rhetoric, of course, anti-gun, anti-Second Amendment. Right, where she says, we've had an assault weapons ban in our country for 10 years. It works successfully. All right. It lapsed under President Bush, and I say bring that back. Yeah, oh yeah. Just ban the guns. Oh, yeah. How about bring back God? How about bring back God, Miss Hochul? How about that? I can't stand her. I just can't stand looking at her. It's ridiculousness. And Kathy Hochul knows, as a Democrat, never let a good crisis go to waste. So she's got to go out and spew, anti-AR-15, Second Amendments, all that. She can go spew, ban it. Yeah, banning it's not going to work. Because again, we just saw this guy doesn't even follow the law in the first place. You can't take a gun in a building in New York City and start shooting people. That's against the law too. He doesn't give a damn. So my thing would be, we need to make sure we have more police on our streets in New York City, even in good-to-do neighborhoods like Midtown Manhattan, which is the area he was in. And we need to make sure that we have, again, armed security, make it more difficult possibly to get in these buildings. That's the only thing I could really say to everybody here to make things a little bit more safer. Because when these people think that they could just go and do something, that's why I see so many people go into schools. They know they're not going to be met with any type of resistance. They know it's a gun-free zone, as this building was. Now, I don't know if the security guard had a firearm on him. I don't know. We don't know yet. But they know if they get in, they can do harm to people. And again, this is just an awful situation. And it's really going to, I think this incident right here, we're going to see who comes out as the main leader. And I hate to talk about that at a time like this, a time of mourning. But you're going to see somebody come out and be a leader in the situation. Who is going to lead the nation? Who's going to lead this city? That's what they're looking for right now, New Yorkers. And we should have these answers, and we should know how we're going to respond to this to try to prevent anything from happening like this again. You can't be perfect. I understand that. It's not realistic thinking nothing like this will ever happen again. But how do we negate, or how do we mitigate, I should say, someone's intentions to do this type of harm to people? That's what we should be looking at. And we should see how all of our potential candidates step up and respond to this. That's all I have to say on that. My heart goes out to all the people that died as a result of this or were injured. I pray for them. I do. And we'll see how this all turns out afterwards. The Wall Street Journal. I want to reference the Wall Street Journal. You know why? Because I have no idea if this Trump suing them for $10 billion is going to take them off. So I want to use it as much as I can right now. That's why I've been going through it these past couple shows. The Wall Street Journal. It says here that consumer confidence survey improved in July. Not bad. Not bad. I like this. This is good. This means the economy might be in a better place than it was before. It says here that American consumers' economic mood improved this month, but remained clouded by concerns about tariffs and the labor market. The conference board that assessed all this consumer confidence stated that the index climbed to 97.2 from 95.2 in June. The forward-looking expectations index improved to 74.4 from 69.9 last month. Nevertheless, the survey creators say expectation levels below 80 often signal a recession is ahead. So, does this mean everything's hunky-dory and great? I don't think so. That means things are fine. The stock market right now is fine. That's not always an indicator of how well the economy is doing, though. But we are seeing, again, record highs in our stock market. Views of the labor market then cooled. About 30% of consumers said jobs are plentiful, up from 29% in June. But the number who said jobs are hard to get grew more, rising to 19 from 17 just a month earlier. So as the White House works to finalize new trade deals with the EU, with Japan, and also threatening new tariffs on other trading partners, the trade war still preoccupied consumers this month. I told you this was going to happen. I told you this was going to happen because, again, people don't know what's going to go on. We don't know what's going to happen if we start selling a plethora of our oil overseas to the EU. We don't know what's going to happen. But we sell $750 billion worth of fuel. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen with the $600 billion they're investing. Where are they going to invest in? Are they going to manufacture? Is it going to put somebody out of business that's already manufacturing? We don't know. We don't know. That's a thing. And again, as I said, when you have the president, the enforcer of the laws, the executive branch, can wake up one morning and decide he wants to put tariffs on a nation versus going through Congress, the proper channel, we're not playing in the realm of how these procedures are supposed to work. So people don't know what's going to happen. Are these 15% tariffs on EU goods going to help companies in America? Are they going to hurt them? Are they going to have to charge more money? We don't know. We have to see how this all ends up working out. And again, I say to you that these investments are a positive thing. Don't get me wrong. I think it's great when you have the EU pledging $600 billion, when you have Japan pledging $550 billion. That's great as long as, again, they are manufacturing, as we are producing raw materials, as we are producing products here in America. We're not reliant on these giant economies like China anymore. That's a positive. That's a positive. So when the EU says they're going to give $600 billion to us, that's a good thing. So long, again, as we are producing in America. That's what we should be looking for. How are they going to invest in America? That's what I want to hear them discuss. That's what we want to know. Now, consumers' write-in responses showed that tariffs remained the top of everyone's mind and were mostly associated with concerns that they would lead to higher prices. I said this to you again yesterday. If you buy a product from any of the 26 EU nations, that's 15%. That's 15 cents on every dollar. So as I used the example yesterday, if you buy something for $10, now that is going to cost $11.50. Now the Treasury gets that the moment it gets to port, right? That money's sent in. They get the money. Who's going to make up that difference now? Is it going to be the company? Is it going to be the manufacturer in Europe? We don't know. But again, if that translates to you, the consumer, right? We have to plan ahead for this. If it goes to the consumer, you're paying more for something that would be obviously less. Now, to me, that's not a good thing. To me, that's not a good thing at all. So we have to see, again, how we invest in America, how this is going to, again, change, if this is going to help us. I seem to think that, again, these trade deals will eventually help us. Right now, it's going to be a bit rocky, is my prediction right now. I don't like these tariffs. I said this to you before. I don't like these tariffs. We got the EU to drop their tariffs on us to 0. But as you heard Ursula von der Leyen say yesterday, oh, we're going to put these tariffs on us because we're going to try to even out this trade balance. Which said to me, and I said this yesterday, I'll say it again today so everyone can understand me, the reason there is a trade deficit between the EU and the United States is not because those countries are ripping us off. It's because we are buying more from them than we are selling to them. That's why we have that. It's not because they're ripping us off. We're not producing enough in America. That's what I've been saying. So Donald Trump needs to get on this manufacturing like there's no tomorrow. We need to invest in different states across the country, get these good paying jobs in these areas, especially in our rust belts, of course. We need to bring these jobs back to America that were hollowed out for the last 30 or so years. We need to bring them back. And then I think you're going to see the economy really start to shoot up if we go that route. But if we're paying tariffs on goods and we're paying more out of our pocket, you lose. It's a tax. That's all a tariff is a tax. So we'll see, folks. That's, I don't know. I don't know why we're doing these tariffs. I said before I want to do quotas. You can only sell X amount of this product because we're making it here in America. That would be a much better place. That'd be more competitive for us. And I think that would be more beneficial to us. But we'll see what Trump has up his sleeves. Apparently he's in complete control of this, and Mike Johnson is simply, I don't know what. I don't know why Congress is not acting on this at all. So consumer confidence up a little bit from June. We'll see how it goes as we continue on the rest of this summer. Yesterday, I talked with you about the case that took place over the weekend at this Cincinnati music festival. I think it was a jazz music festival that took place on Friday evening. And the white woman that was attacked in the video, there was 3 people attacked that I saw. Assaulted by this mostly black mob. We saw the footage of this, of course. And the woman seen in the video getting brutally assaulted, this is the Gateway Pundit, by the way, by this angry mob in Cincinnati has broken her silence. It revealed something that reflects the lack of empathy from so many despite the heinousness of this attack. And I remember she was just trying to help the older bald gentleman stand up, and someone pulls her back, is I believe a black woman, and then a few people, assault her, and then all of a sudden a black man just clocks her right in the face, and she's knocked right out. Head bounces off the pavement, eyes wide open, blood coming out of the mouth. It's a horrible thing. Nothing warranted that. I said to you yesterday that there is other footage that you're really not seeing. I see it because, I go through a lot of this information. But the older bald gentleman did strike one of the people in this group surrounding him. Now, I asked the question, why are they surrounding him? Did we see someone shove him? Did someone make contact with him first? Is that why he struck back? We see what people want us to see. We see what people want us to see. Now, does that mean that it's warranted that, a dozen people are stopping on this older white guy when he's already on the ground like that, where they could kill him? I don't think so. I don't think you should be punching a woman in the face, a middle-aged woman in the face, and knocking her out. She didn't do anything to anybody that I saw. Nor did anyone, the other guy that was knocked down too and hit in the face. He didn't do anything to anybody either, as far as I could see. But then we have I think she's the police commissioner. I don't know who she is. I don't know who this woman is. I don't really care. Now, she's right about one thing. We see things in certain contexts, right? We see maybe the very end of it. We don't know what leads up to it. Well, it's your job, lady, to tell us what the hell happened. And since this attack, 5 people have been arrested. They haven't been named. I saw far more than 5 people involved in, again, hitting all these people. And yet it's going, I guess, unnoticed. I don't know. But it is starting to make its way on the mainstream media, particularly on Fox News. I saw it a couple times on various conservative talk radio shows. They're also bringing it up as well in podcasts, which is a good thing because, again, this is horrible. And it would be the same if it was any other race, doing it to another race. But this is what this woman says. Take a listen to what she says.
Another topic I want to cover real quick. Social media and journalism and the role it plays in this incident. And yes, guys, that's you. That is you. Social media, the post that we've seen, does not depict the entire incident. That is one version of what occurred. At times, social media and mainstream media and their commentaries are a misrepresentation of the circumstances surrounding any given event. What that does, that causes us some difficulties in thoroughly investigating the activity and enforcing the law. Because what happens, that social media post and your coverage of it distorts the content of what actually happened.
Okay. Distorts. So it's your job to tell us what's going on. Nothing made what happened at the end was okay. Nothing made that all right. That was horrible. I'm not saying it was right for the white gentleman to hit the black guy. I'm not saying that. I didn't say that at all. Again, I don't know what led up to that. Why are they surrounding this guy? I keep asking this question. Why are they surrounding him? This group of people just right in this guy's face. Why are they surrounding him? Did the guy say something to him? Did he shove him before? Did he hit him before? And then, of course, we see him hit him back, and then we say, look, he struck him first. We don't know. Was the guy belligerent? Were they all belligerent? I have no idea. But nothing warrants a group of people stomping and punching somebody in the face, especially an older person, or punching a woman in the face who had, as I could see, nothing to do with any of that. Or another gentleman getting, knocked to the ground, punched in the face a couple times. Thrown in the streets. And everyone's response is to get their cell phone out and cheer it on. I'm told there was about 100 people that witnessed this. Only one person called the police. And it brings me back to my original point in the show, folks. Where's our morality? Where is our values? Where are they? They're gone. Now, the main idea of this article is that nobody called, no politician, no leader, she talked to one detective from the Cincinnati Police Department. Nobody spoke to this woman. Nobody reached out to her to see if she's okay. I mean, she could have easily been killed by what happened there. And again, we see people, they don't say anything, they don't seem to care. Again, I say this not to enrage people, but again, if this was reversed, if this was a group of white people attacking a small group of black people, you would see this ad nauseum all over CNN, all over MS, nobody cares. PBS, NBC, ABC, CBS, NPR, that's where it would be. You'd hear it on Stephen Colbert's failed late night show. I mean, this is what all things will just revolve around this. America needs to do better. Look at America. This is America today. You'd see Ben Crump who's just nothing more than a chump who goes after these grifter cases, as we see. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. This type of behavior from anyone should be condemned. Yes, I understand sometimes people get in fights. I understand that. But you shouldn't be having 12 people or so, or at least that's what it looked like to me, at least, just around this guy, kicking him, punching him, throwing him around when he's down on the ground already. That's no good. And somebody said that he said a slur of some kind. Again, this is what's being espoused. I have no idea if he said something, and I don't know if something was said to him. But you don't, as a group, just attack somebody in the middle of the streets like this. This is unbelievable. But this is where we are, folks. This is where we are today. No God in the streets. I'll tell you that much. Ghislaine Maxwell threatens to dodge Epstein questions unless demands are met. What demands could this possibly be? What demands could this possibly be? Now, she was slapped down with the subpoena to testify in front of Congress last week. And now she's attempting to delay her August 11th deposition. Why? Well, she wants her demands to be met. Now, she already spoke with immunity to the DOJ after this whole court case where she was found guilty, by the way. And in a letter addressed to Chairman James Comer, Maxwell's attorney laid out 3 conditions on the client agreeing to testify in front of Congress, which she was not compelled to agree to. The letter asked James Comer to grant Maxwell formal immunity prior to her interview with the committee, pointing to both the legal and security risks that stem from her disclosing new details about Epstein. Now, Maxwell's legal team is asking Comer to provide them with the questions the committee intends to ask in advance, so again, they can craft certain things to say. I told you this the other day. It's a dog and pony show, folks. That's all it is. Insisting the process cannot become a game of cat and mouse. That's all it is. They ask a question, she plays dumb. That's all it's going to be. I told you that on Friday. That's what it's going to come down to on this. And you're not going to get the case documents that the courts are holding up. You're not going to get any new information from the DOJ. You're not going to get any new information from her. She wants a pardon now, apparently. But the third request to speak to Congress, outlined in the letter, asked Comer to schedule any congressional deposition until after the Supreme Court rules on Maxwell's latest bid for an appeal and her habeas petition is resolved. I wouldn't be surprised if they pardoned her. I wouldn't be surprised at all if this happened. Well, because you got the main suspect dead, right? Supposedly. That's what's alleged, that Epstein killed himself. I don't believe that for a moment. Well, you can. I don't. I don't know how somebody hangs themselves with a paper blanket in a cell where there's nothing to hang off the ceiling. That's, again, another odd situation, right? Just like somebody shooting himself with a long rifle in the chest. I don't understand how that happens. It's very difficult, I would have to say. On Monday, Maxwell's legal team submitted a filing asking the Supreme Court to hear her appeal over her 2021 sex trafficking conviction. Now remember, she was found guilty of this. Understand this. There was enough information to find her guilty to put her in jail for 20 years. Now, her attorneys argue that the federal government has an obligation to honor a 2007 non-prosecution agreement initially made by Epstein that they believe should also have shielded Maxwell from any criminal charges. So in other words, another sweetheart deal. This is where this is leading to. She walks free, everyone, cleans their hands off, and the same old happens. The same old blackmail happens. This is what's going on right now. I mean, again, you can't make this stuff up, folks. You really can't. I don't know what's going to happen with this. I don't know what speaking to Congress is going to do. I really don't know what changes in it. She's been found guilty. And again, I don't think speaking to Congress without immunity or limited immunity or whatever she wants is going to change this conviction. Doesn't seem to make any sense at all. She's currently being held in the federal prison in Tallahassee, sentenced to 20 years behind bars for her procuring. Now, what does procuring mean, folks? That means you are finding someone to do something for somebody else in a sexual nature. Now, was it just Jeffrey Epstein? We don't know. We don't know about this. Now, it's kind of odd that there'd be 1,000 different people just associated with Epstein. And, of course, this sexual abuse of minors, this rape of young children, young women, the God knows what, this torture, the sacrifice that took place on this island, these islands, I should say. He had 2 islands. He had 2 islands. Can you believe that? I don't even have 1 island. I don't know. And weird things. Has a temple on one of the islands. He has an operation, like a chair in a shower. I don't know what's going on with this. I don't know if I want all the details about this. The request came for a later date after Maxwell sat down for nearly 2 days of interviews with the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche after speaking with him at a Florida courthouse. Oh, God, if this woman walks, I'm going to be livid. I'm going to be absolutely livid if this woman walks and gets away from this as pardon and goes and lives in, I don't know, Israel for the rest of her life. It's a free woman. Maybe she'll meet up with her buddy, Jeffrey Epstein. Who knows? Sickening. 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 Absolutely sickening. I mean, we should not be giving any type of leniency to someone who harms children. At all. Speaking of that, let's talk about this article I have in Reuters now. Let's move on. I wanted to talk about this yesterday. We didn't have enough time. We have about 14 minutes left in the show. This says Palestinian death toll from Israeli military offensive in Gaza surpasses 60,000. Now, it was 60,000 last month, so to me that makes perfect sense. It says here that Israelis' military offensive on the Gaza Strip has killed at least 60,000 Palestinians since October 7th, 2023. It's important to note it's saying Palestinians. It's not saying Hamas. It's saying Palestinians. So keep that in mind right now. Most of these Palestinians killed are civilians, according to the enclave's health authorities. Reuters Daily Briefing newspaper provides all the news you need to start up your day. Oh, sorry, I'm sure I'm reading the wrong part here. The ministry said on Tuesday that the number of injured is 145,870. While thousands remain missing. Understand that. Probably dead under this rubble, destroyed buildings. The whole thing is leveled. The whole thing is leveled here. What do I have to say about this? This atrocity that keeps going on and on and on. It never seems to end. By the way, I thought they were supposed to be in a ceasefire. They're still killing people every single day in Gaza right now. It doesn't make any sense to me that we allow this to happen. We give more arms that allow this to happen. We don't get the humanitarian aid in the region that we were supposed to have seen. And everyone's talking about this, but nothing seems to be going on. Why are we allowing this to happen in front of us? I mean, you look at all the pictures, you look at aerial footage, everything seems destroyed. Everything seems destroyed. That's why Trump says we got to go in there and just clear it out. Make it a nice beachfront property resort. I love it. Hey, Trump Mar-a-Lago, Gaza style. There we go. You can't make this information up. In the Trends Journal, they have this article saying that the top Israeli human rights group, so this is an Israeli human rights group, now accuse the country of carrying out gravest crime of all. And it says here that these 2 human rights groups in Israel, we have B'Tselem and the Physicians for Human Rights Israel, these 2 top Israeli human rights groups, issued new reports on Monday that accused Tel Aviv of carrying out a genocide in Gaza. The first time these 2 groups accused the country of carrying out the world's gravest crime. One of the group's directors, Yuli Novak, said in a statement that there is nothing that can prepare you for the realization that you are part of a society committing genocide. This is a deeply painful moment for all of us. Trump was asked about this when he was in Scotland the other day, and he was with Keir Starmer, and the issue of starvation, food, humanitarian aid was posed to President Trump. This is what he had to say.
President Netanyahu said there's no starvation in Gaza. Do you agree with that assessment? I don't know. I mean, based on television, I would say not particularly, because those children look very hungry. But we're giving a lot of money and a lot of food, and other nations are now stepping up. I know that this nation is, right
It's
here.
a humanitarian crisis.
Right.
It's an absolute catastrophe. And nobody wants to see that. And I think people in Britain are revolted at seeing what they're seeing on their screens. So we've got to get to that ceasefire. And thank you, Mr. President, for leading on that. And also to just get more and more aid in. And again, America's done a lot on this. A lot of countries have done a lot. We're now working with Jordan on getting direct aid drops in. But this is a desperate situation.
Okay. So it's a desperate situation. So why are we allowing this to happen? Why are we giving more military aid to Israel? If there's a quote-unquote humanitarian crisis going on, why are we not telling them we must get this food, we must get this water, we must restore electricity, we must get the proper sanitation in this region? Now, you'll see different things on social media from different types of news organizations saying that there is no starvation. Others are saying there is starvation going on. You know, I've been looking at this very closely for each and every one of you. So I want to get this right. And of course, yes, I do see footage, allegedly, of Hamas taking truckloads of this humanitarian aid that's been brought there when it's allowed in by the IDF. Remember, everything that goes into Gaza is controlled by Israel. Never forget that. They can, again, they want to shut the water off, they can shut the water off. They want the electricity off, they'll shut the electricity off. They know everything that goes into Gaza. They know it. They do. They know every person that goes in there right now. That you can't cross into Gaza without, again, passing through the IDF. So, understand that. We've also had people from the medical standpoint, doctors going in. I want you to listen to this, though. And again, it's not fun to see people starving, people waiting in bread lines, people getting shot. I mean, we see this happening. I mean, what is that about? So you see people waiting for, food, and then all of a sudden you see people getting shot. I don't understand this. I don't know why we're allowing this to happen. And why Trump and, again, the Western world is so silent on this. They say, oh, well, it's a humanitarian crisis. So then what are we doing about this? What are we doing about this? We're not doing anything. Some people blame the UN. Some people blame Hamas. That's stealing it. I highly doubt Hamas is stealing, 100 tons of food and just taking it somewhere. I do believe they are taking it. But I don't know if they're taking everything. That's the thing. And the amount of food that's been said to have gone in is not enough to feed millions of people, I would have to say. Just my own opinion. Listen to this doctor, though, that went into Gaza. This was published about 2 months ago. He's going to talk to you about what he saw when he went into Gaza. Again, this is a gentleman from California. His name is Dr. Feroz Sidwa. He's from Stockton, California. He went and volunteered in Gaza and he goes to other places as well. And here he is talking about the humanitarian situation inside Gaza. Take a listen.
In Gaza, I operated in hospitals without sterility, electricity, or anesthetics. Surgeries took place on crowded and filthy floors. Children died not because their injuries were unsurvivable, but because we lacked blood, antibiotics, and the most basic supplies that are readily available in any large hospital anywhere else in the world. I did not see or treat a single combatant during my 5 weeks in Gaza. My patients were 6-year-olds with shrapnels in their heart and bullets in their brains, and pregnant women whose pelvises had been obliterated and their fetuses cut in two while still in the womb. Mothers sheltering in the hospital cooked bread on hot plates in the emergency department during mass casualty events, as we dealt with the rain of fire and death falling around us everywhere.
That's a little preview on that. Horrible. Horrifying. By the way, there's no anesthesia many times in these situations where they do these surgeries for people that have, shrapnel, people that are bleeding or have limbs removed from them. So that these surgeries are performed without all that. On children, folks. On children. And never forget that mostly half of Gaza is children, 17 years of age and younger. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about all this situation. But there you go. You have a doctor talking about this. And, he's saying what he sees when he goes in there. So what we need to do better with this, folks. I'll leave you with this one more, statement, made by an Israeli minister. His name is Elahu, heritage minister. Spoke Thursday, addressing Israel's military actions in the Gaza Strip. He said the following. He defended the government's approach, insisting its targets only those who pose a threat to Israeli lives. Then how do we have 60,000 and counting? At least 60,000. I think that's a low number by far. Dead Israeli citizens. Palestinian citizens. How is Hamas still running rampant right in front of our eyes, taking truckloads of food away from people? He goes on to say, we're not acting out of racism. We're fighting the people who want to kill us. He further went on to express a radical vision of the future of Gaza. He said that the government is moving forward to wipe out Gaza. Thank God, removing this evil, eventually all of Gaza will be Jewish. So they're talking about taking this land, folks. They're talking about getting these people off this land, these some 2 million people that have been displaced. They're talking about moving them off this land that they've lived on for, centuries, millennia, at least. And they're talking about just replacing them, sending them somewhere else. I don't understand this. How we could sit here and go, okay, they're talking about Israel's not doing anything wrong as far as bringing humanitarian aid in. It's just Hamas, but we're going to wipe Gaza off. But what better way than starving people, folks? Preventing water, which we know is happening. Preventing electricity. You heard the doctor. They're doing surgeries on floors. They don't have any provisions in order to carry out proper sanitized surgeries with anesthesia. They don't have that. They don't have anesthesia. So, again, very troubling that this reality is happening. And, again, you hear very little from anyone about this. Right in front of your eyes, folks. Nothing being done about it. This article here I wanted to go over yesterday, but we ran out of time, so I'm going to go over this today before we leave. And the owner of a 175-year-old farm was shocked as New Jersey town tries to seize land for affordable housing. This is ridiculousness. I can't take it anymore. I almost can't take it. Andy Henry, who owns this farm in Cranberry, New Jersey, said that we got a letter on April 24th informing us of this unfortunate decision that the Cranberry officials want to take the entire 21 acres. So, of course, ever since then, we pushed back, and now we're saying, well, actually, we'll take half of it and leave the house. That would leave us with a non-viable farm for at least 40 cows and many sheep. So what they're trying to do is take these people off their land, kick them off, dish some money at them, maybe. Now, the Cranberry Township announced an affordable housing plan that will allow local officials to seize the Henry family farm through an eminent domain seizure. This stems from the New Jersey mandate ordering towns in the state to build more than 146,000 affordable housing units by 2035. So here's the situation. This poor family that's been there for, since 1850, by the way, is being told you got to pack up and leave. You got to get the hell out. It's all over. You don't have the right to stay on your own property that your family's owned for almost 200 years. What is eminent domain, though? We hear about this. Most people don't know what it is. Well, it's found in the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. Let me read it to you specifically here. And I'm going to break it down for you in Saving the Constitution, which I recommend all of you get in case you want to understand what's really going on in our Constitution as it is intended. But it says here, it's talking about the taking of your property without just compensation. So it says in the provision itself, it says, nor shall, this is the very final piece of it, it says, nor shall private property be taken for public use, without just compensation. So let's all take a moment and examine the words alleging that the government cannot take your property without just compensation. First of all, what does the word take include? Now, in a 1992 court, Lucas versus South Carolina held that where regulations completely deprive an owner of all economically beneficial use. So think about this farm. They have to drastically downsize their farm. It's almost non-viable, is what the owner said. Of his or her property, the government must pay a just compensation. So that means that the government must completely take your property. If it allows you some continued use, there is no compensation at all required. So this is what they're trying to do. Hey, we'll leave you the house, we'll take everything else. That's all right. That's fine, right? Now, just compensation just means simply they'll pay you as little bit as possible. Understand that. So what does public use mean, right? They have this mandate, and the state of New Jersey says that all towns need to create affordable housing. New Jersey is one of the most densely populated states in the country. So most of us take it to mean government buildings, roads, parks, anything that, the public would use, right? But in a recent case of Kello versus the City of New London in 2005, the court has essentially included a greater tax base as better public use. So that means the government can now come in and be allowed to take your private property if the tax income for this new use is greater than the tax income that you provide. So think about the Henry family farm. If they say, you know what? If we can get more taxes from the people that we can cram into this housing unit that we're going to build here, this low-density housing unit, or affordable housing unit, whatever the hell they call it now, they can take this from you because they're pulling a bigger profit than you, which you pull on your farm. And again, these are just some of the ways in which, of course, our Constitution has been perverted and corrupted over the years, that we can throw people off their own land. Not a good thing, I would argue, folks. One thing I want to bring up to you before we close out today's show is the following. We have about 500,000 illegal aliens residing in New Jersey right now. That's the probably low number, but that's the number that's estimated, 500,000. Now, they want to build units for 146,000 people. Now, to me, if you deport the illegal aliens that have zero right to be there, you would have to have this stupid mandate in place anyways. You would have to turn farmers off their land that they've been on since 1850. It just goes to show you who these people support. Who these people support. They support the illegal alien trash over you, the American citizen. Think about how much history, think about how much heritage is there. Think about that. I mean, it's ridiculous to think about that someone could just be thrown off their land like that. But this is how they have destroyed the Constitution, folks. So again, it's not terribly shocking at all. By the way, 90% of Democratic states now want to sue the Trump administration for them to fund welfare for illegal aliens. You see who they work for, these Democrats, these scumbags, these pieces of human trash? It's unbelievable. Folks, thanks for tuning in the show. Share it with some friends. I appreciate you. And as always, I'll see you tomorrow on the next Marco DeRay Show. Until then, be good, stay busy. God bless.